So this year, dealing with loss, it's been a tough year. Um, I lost probably the best friend I've ever had. Um, Her name was Nikki Neal. I remember, shit, man, we met back in, I would say, I think it was 2010. Say 2010. Um, I was new to the unit, 321st Engineer Battalion, and I think it was like my first official drill. Our first official drill. I don't remember what we were doing. We all signed in, did all our shit, whatever, and then we did PT, right? And this is the first time I met Nikki. Well, I called her Neil, but the first time I met her, we were. It was. I remember it was cold because we were inside. Usually, if it's warm, we're always outside running, doing our thing. But at this point, we were inside, and I think we were doing dodgeball. So we did our regular PT. Then after that, we did some dodgeball. And I remember seeing her for the first time, man. And I remember she was like skinny just like me, man. I was much skinnier than I am now. But shit, she was freaking dodging everything. I mean, she was really good. She was really good at dodgeball. And I'm like, holy shit, man, this chick's really good. Um, And I remember like we connected on a certain level, man. Like we connected on a certain level. Now we weren't very close until like, man, maybe I'd say a couple years later. But we always hung out, we were always in the same because we were both cooks, right? So we did a lot of training together, we qualified together. But the where we got close was when we got sent to Fort Lee. Me and her got sent to Fort Lee to be on the culinary arts team, representing Idaho, and I have some pictures and stuff like that. But uh, we trained, man. Like we trained, got to hang out, and instant battle buddies for life, man. Instant battle buddies for life. I remember we got a chance to meet this little short general. It's like little black lady. She was just really tiny, and me and her got a chance to meet. And I was a PFC at the time. Neil, she was a specialist. And I remember I was going through the halls and talking to different soldiers and stuff like that. But like I said, we got a chance to meet this general and a lieutenant colonel, man. This big tall black guy, man. Big tall black guy. He had to been like 6'5", 6'6". Um, he had like special forces. He had like all this stuff on his sleeve. And I remember like getting a chance to meet her, and I saw him, and I was like, and I got a chance to shake his hand too. I took a picture with him, shook his hand, and he's like, "Oh, you don't really want to meet me. You want to meet the general." And I was like, "Shit, sir, sir, I don't want to meet you, man. You got the special forces, the little it's like the lightning bolt and the three whatever, but on his sleeve." And I was like, "Man, that is so cool." But anyways, we got a chance to take a picture with the general. Like we were standing next to her, like one on each side. But man, me and Nikki, like we gained such a bond, man. Gained such a bond like for life, even when I was going through a lot of my problems later on in life. Like I went through some really dark times in 2016. She took care of me, her and her wife, their two kids. They took me in, man. They took me in, darkest part of my life, man. Darkest part of my life, took me in. They took care of me for as long as they could, and I'll always be grateful. Be grateful. But anyways, a little earlier this year. Now it had been a few years, right? So she moved on, right? I got out. She moved on. I think she was sergeant E5, so she hit like E5. But I remember one night I was working a job, like just a regular civilian job, and I get a call one night from her, and this is like, man, it was late because I was working the night shift. Um, and she called me saying that she had brain cancer. I don't remember if it was a text or a call. But anyways, and I was like in deep shock, deep shock. And this happened like last year. But anyways, called me and was like, "Hey, I got brain cancer," and I was just like blown away. I remember just being in shock. And the rest of the night, had to act like I was normal. Had to act like I was normal, like around all my fellow employees. But I remember just being devastated, man. I was crushed. I was absolutely crushed, man, into the ground. But man, that was probably I don't even know how to describe that moment. I think it was a text message. It's a text message or a call. I remember I think I texted me, and then I called her, and I remember just being like in complete shock. Well, anyways, I tried to talk to her, as much as I could, but then she started to decline a little bit, so I wasn't really able to really stay in contact with her. But she was stationed out in Hawaii at the time. Like I said, I was civilian. She's stationed in Hawaii, and then the last few months of her life, they brought her out here. They got a house, and when I was only able to see her like a couple times um, before she passed away. But that right there, getting a chance to see her for the first time as she came out here, um, seen her at a house, and she recognized me. She's laying. I remember she was laying in bed. She was laying in bed, and she had just got done with a round of I think it was radiation or whatever it is that they were freaking putting in her body. Um, but I got a chance to see her for the first time. Held her hand, and like I said, I never had a chance to, like I said, last few years. Obviously, she's in Hawaii. I'm out here in Idaho, so I don't get a chance to see her. I didn't even get a chance to see her get married. I remember like just being like crushed. And like, man, I wish I could have taken time off to go see her get married to Jessica. I never really got, I never got a chance to see her. But all in all, man, the best friend. Like she gave me advice. She was like a big sister to me. We were like born like a week apart from each other. Like a week apart, both left-handed. Uh, shit, man. Like I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. Honestly, I wouldn't be here. Honestly, would not be here if it wasn't for her. I would not be on planet Earth. Um, but the last time I got a chance to see her, she was had just complete decline. But I got a chance to help hold her hand, feed her a little bit, wipe her face, and I knew it would be one of the last times I saw her. Honestly, I could feel it. I knew she could feel it. I know her family could feel it. But getting a chance to see Jessica and the kids, Jason, Jasmine, it was so great seeing them. I love every single one of them, family and everything like that. And it's been a long road, you know. And there's a few times me and Nikki, we used to joke all the time. You hang out, joke, do our shit. But we joke about, like who's gonna go first. Like because Army, we have dark humor, really dark humor. Most people, civilians, would not understand. But I'll be like, hey, man, am I gonna go? You gonna go first, man? We're a week apart. Shit, we might go at the same time. We'd always joke. We'd always joke like that the whole time. That's just the Army humor. Um, and unfortunately, she went before me. Uh, yeah, but at the funeral, I got a chance to see the family and stuff like that, and I cried like a baby, man. I cried, man. I cried for days. You guys don't even know. I cried for days. Even right now, I'll never ever get over it. And every single moment of the day, my life, I spend every moment thinking about her. Thinking about her. Haven't had a lot of time to grieve, because family and drama and kids and law, everybody, right? And I've never gotten over it. Never, never had a chance to get over it. Grieve. I'll grieve for the rest of my life. As long as I'm here on this planet, I'll always grieve. I love her, Nikki. You know, shout out to you. Everything I do now, I live for you. I know you're out there watching and, you know, talk about all the good times that we had, the music, man. Like me and her were big fans of Eminem. vibing to Eminem. We be vibing to, Skrillex, stuff like that. But the funeral, like, that was the first time I had never cried, man. Never cried so hard um, at the funeral. Like I couldn't keep it together. I thought I was like, I'm gonna be all right. Nah, man, nah, I'll never be the same. But she had the biggest impact on my life. You know, make sure you rest in peace. I know this is months later, but it's a long time coming, man. Like I've just never been able to really talk about it, to anybody because a lot of people don't really understand. They're like, "Oh yeah, you lost your buddy. Hey, no big deal. Hey man, move on. You're good." But really, I'll never be the same. I'll never be the same. All the stuff we did together, sitting in gun trucks together. I remember we went to Death Valley, and yeah, Death Valley. We got screwed over a lot. Cooks got screwed over. We were supposed to be on the CK cooking. We didn't have an MKT, but CK was supposed to be cooking. But they were like, "Hey, get on the 50 cal, get on the Hummer." We set up perimeters out in the distance, I don't know, about 100 meters or so from the CK. But we set up. We'd be sitting in gun trucks for like hours, man, like 8-9 hour shift, man, just sitting there and just being like, "What the hell are we doing?" But me and Neil, man, we were inseparable, man, inseparable, and there's nobody that can get in between us. That was my buddy, my battle buddy, my best friend for life. I know this video's gone on pretty long, but rest in peace. Like I said, everything I do is for her, for you, Nikki. When I go out here in the middle of nowhere, guess what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about Neil, Nikki Neal. Known her as a best friend, battle buddy for life. Always had each other's backs, man. Like, hey, you got my back, I got your back. You know, Valhalla. You know what I'm saying? That's my best friend. So that's all I have to say. I had to make a video talking about my loss. Um, and she lives on throughout the rest of us. We all live on through this life. We're all just in these mortal coils. That's all we're in. And she's free of that. No more pain, no more suffering. Um, she's moved on, man. She's moved on to bigger, better things. You know, and we're all stuck here. So everybody, if you've lost somebody, it's okay to grieve. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to mourn the loss. You know, so you can live through that person. Live your life through that person. So that's all I got for you guys today. So rest in peace, Nikki.